Greetings, I'm Caffeine Rage, and welcome to the state of the channel. This is something that I'm way overdue on doing. It's been well over a year since I've recorded anything like state of the channel. And it's, well, time to do one. And I have a few things to talk about today. I'm going to talk about all three of the Let's Play series, the other content as well, and some real life stuff as well. Making the pretty pictures in the background is Warframe, just a little bit of random footage of me leveling up a gun. Hey, it beats just having a black screen or the hex grid, right? Anyway. State of the channel, real quick. For a split second there, I was at 150 subs, and then quickly dropped back down to 148. It's one of those things that's very hard to ignore, but it's the sub count isn't as an important metric as it used to be, but at the same time, it's one of those metrics that a lot of people still use, because a lot of what's really important these days is view count and viewer retention, but that's something that other people can't really see all that easily. So the sub count is one of those easy things to see, and you know, it's such a weird metric when you sit down and think about it, because people, in television, for example, people don't think about the repeat viewer for a television show. They care about the overall viewership. But on YouTube, it's, the other way around. They care more about, how many people are in your audience that actually gets your feed, and not so much about the overall viewership that you're getting. Granted, there is some of that there, but maybe it's just that it's not an easy metric to see. But I'm rambling on now. And this is very inside baseball stuff, and I'm sure most people don't care about this, but it's one of those things that it's very hard to ignore, especially for a small channel where losing one sub for, a big channel is, inconsequential and happens all the time. But for a small channel like me, it's one of those things that, it's very noticeable. The main reason I'm doing this is that I have some medical stuff going on next week. A little bit of surgery, just outpatient stuff. It's not that invasive, but it's one of those things that it may disrupt the channel. So, I want to talk about it, just a little hint of what's going on. Just some surgery on my leg to try to alleviate a problem there. I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty or gross details of it, because it's But if there's an interruption in content, that's why. I don't think it'll cause a problem, but I just want to cover my bases. So if I drop off, the easiest way to keep up with me is actually on my Twitter. Give me a CR. Ding. And I'll tweet out if I'm not feeling up to recording or posting stuff. I do have RimWorld recorded up till, I'm pretty sure I got all of Tuesday done, so up till Friday. So I should be able to handle that, most likely. But since we're talking about the Let's Play series, let's just go down the list in order. Halo. Halo. You may have noticed, or may have not noticed, is that I missed an episode of Halo. Well, if you're following my Twitter or listening to the podcast, you'll know that I'm pretty much done with Halo. And what went wrong with Halo? Oh, that's a question I've been asking myself a bit, trying to figure out, just, was it me? Was it the game? And I think it's both. I really think it's both. Mostly because it is a decade and a half old game, and it's one of those games that is iconic, and it's hard to criticize it, but at the same time, there's a lot of mechanics and a lot of things in it that, by today's standards, are not that great. And even then, because it was really a predecessor for a lot of things, especially regenerating health, it's probably the game that made it popular, and the two-weapon system. I think those are the two big things. That, and it's multiplayer, but can't really do that with these days, because nobody plays a Halo multiplayer. Boy, there's a statement that could get me in trouble. I should say Halo Combat Evolved multiplayer. But yeah. And it's just all those little things. Like, the grenade deaths are probably what got me the most. And it's one of those things that these days you would have a grenade indicator, but because this predates that, all those became pretty much just random. Someone behind me threw a grenade at me, and there was no way I could tell. Yeah, so And I think a lot of it is that I found the gameplay, I can't really call it lacking, but it didn't have the impact that I would hope that for, and the fact that I think the biggest thing, the easiest way I could talk about this is think of it as a roller coaster. I never really felt that big high outside of a couple instances, like the one time that I was able to successfully do an OLA on a hunter and shoot it with a pistol. That was pretty good. I liked the tank section, but then the lows were just so abysmal. The random deaths, coming around the corner and having a flood with a rocket launcher right there, and a big gotcha moment. Yeah, that just, well, my mood was pretty much gone by then, but it's just that sort of just random death, random things that just irritated me. And the fact that I wasn't having that much fun overall, outside of the few highlights, really kind of did it in for me. And also, it's just one of those things that maybe it's just a case of you can't go back. Or for me, that's the thing, I wasn't a Halo fan going in. So maybe it's just also the fact that I wasn't a fan of this series to begin with. So it's an outsider looking in and trying to play a decade-and-a-half-old game and just not really doing it for me. So what could I have done differently? Well, for one, not played as long. I was purposely doing short recording sessions to try to not get my mood so soured by all the random things that just irritated me. And that was just ending up making me dread playing it even more. I think I should have just dropped the series a couple weeks ago, to be perfectly honest. And I think that's how I should try to prevent something like this happening in the future. It's just know when I'm beaten. I've had this happen before with The Last Remnant, where I spent a long time on the series trying to make more of it, or get through the bad bits. The Last Remnant was one of those cases where I never understood what the hell was going on with the combat, and even sitting down and reading guides on it, the people writing the guides either didn't explain it all that well or had no idea what the hell was going on as well, because The Last Remnant felt very random. Matter of fact, it's a good correlation, is that the randomness of the combat for The Last Remnant, just overall randomness, and just never really feeling the groove of the game. And for Halo, it's just the random deaths, those gotcha moments, and also the combat. I really hate saying it didn't have a lot of weight to it, but the assault rifle taking a quarter to a third of its ammo when it's a 60-round clip. It's just one of those little graphical things. If it was a 20-round clip, it would feel not nearly as unimpactful of a weapon. It's just one of those... Yes, I realize it's purely psychological, but it's one of those things that takes you out of the game, or at least it took me out of the game. And there were so many guns like that. Matter of fact, the only guns that really felt impactful to me were the plasma rifle when it was in a charge mode, the shotgun, because it's a fucking shotgun, but then again, it falls into the problem of video game shotguns where, okay, point blank, you're dead. Take 2 steps back, suddenly they take no damage, or take very limited damage. So, which in real life, shotguns don't work like that. And the pistol, which the pistol was just overpowered. It was essentially a sniper rifle. As a matter of fact, the sniper rifle was less of a sniper rifle than the damn pistol. Only thing the sniper rifle had over it was the night vision. And it's just one of those things that I really tried. I really tried with Halo, maybe to a fault. So, what is replacing Halo? To be perfectly honest, right now I have no idea. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to figure that out after I'm recording this. And I'm hoping I can get it done by Monday. If not, then I'll shoot for Thursday. It's just one of those things that I'm not sure what I feel like playing right now. And I'm not going to try to push it. So let's move swiftly along to the B slot. RimWorld. Boy, the current series, I would have never have expected, well, at least one of my RimWorld series to last over 70 episodes. Yeah, it's one of those things that you can't really plan for. And maybe it's just my mod setup, because there are certain things that would have impacted me a lot more. But primarily, I think combat realism either disables sappers or makes them a lot more rare, because I've never ran into them. Well, on the flip side of things, it also makes individual raiders a lot tougher, particularly when they get body armor. So maybe it just counteracts one another. That and my kill corridor is just it works wonders. So it's one of those things that I'm not sure if it's how things are going with the with my mod setup, or if it's just luck of the draw. Because I have very easily lost. Particularly whenever I've had a raider with very strong body armor show up early in the game. So, it's just one of those things that, luck of the draw, I guess. That, and maybe I'm just getting a little bit better at it. Boy, there's a way to really end the series quickly. Say that I'm getting better at the game. Especially with what's going on in the last couple episodes. Because that's an event that I never encountered before. And that is a base game event. It's just rare. So we'll have to see how I handle that. And, well, speaking of the base game, Alpha 17, that is right around the corner, it seems. It's in, testing right now and trying to, decide what I want to do with that. I don't want to end Dingy prematurely. But at the same time, I really want to play Alpha 17, even though I'll be perfectly honest, at least from what I've seen, a lot of it is graphical. With some bug fixes, of course, and some balance changes. So I'm not in a huge rush to play Alpha 17, but at the same time I want to. Maybe it's just the balance changes that will change things. If you pardon me, just saying change over and over again. And we'll have to see just what the release notes does for Alpha 17, really, because that's the thing, is that I don't want to commit to it, because I've completely skipped alphas before. I went from Alpha 14 out to Alpha 16 just because, I had my mod set up, and the mods that I was wanting to use just wasn't available whenever Alpha 15 originally came out. So I did another Alpha 6 or Alpha 14 video, Alpha 14 video series, and by then Alpha 16 is launched and mods were updated. But that was also the case that one of the big library mods just never updated, so it held back a lot of mods. So that's just me, really. And, long-term plans for RimWorld. RimWorld's not going away anytime soon. Even after Dingy and after Alpha 17, I have plans. I've been looking at different mod builds, just different mods in general, and things that add a lot of interesting things to the game, and also different ways to play, really. I don't want to spoil them all here, because I have several ideas of what I want to do, and let's just tease things like that. I have things I want to do. I guess you could call them challenges, even though I don't like using the term challenge, because it feels like a very YouTubey word these days. Just watching people purposely gimp themselves and it's just something I don't really care for a lot of times. And also has, I don't want to call it negative connotations, but it's one of those very YouTube things. Instead, a different play style, I guess, or a different objective. And trust me, I have some interesting things behind it. But maybe it's just I'm being silly on the, challenging the word challenge. It's just one of those things, I guess. Okay, so, Divinity. No, it isn't dead. No, really, it isn't dead. Divinity is actually, I'm planning on having it come back next week. I had the episodes for it this week, but I purposely held off another week to try to get a few more episodes in the can. And that's something I really need to try to work with Jared on, is trying to prevent these long hiatuses. Granted, unless he moves again, which I really hope he doesn't, then we shouldn't have these long hiatuses anymore. I hope. Assuming, something doesn't happen. Knock on wood. But I really want to try to prevent these by just, building up some extra episodes, which I'll have hopefully 2 weeks worth of content ready to go whenever we start up next week. And that's just really why Divinity isn't already back, is I'm just trying to have a little bit more build up so I don't have a month-long hiatus, because that's something that just I don't like doing. And maybe I could have done some filler content in the meantime, but if there's someone that was following that Divinity, that's not what they're wanting. That's what they're wanting, Divinity, and I just couldn't provide it because, well, for one, I didn't even have the save file. Jared had the save file because he's the host on that series, because he couldn't connect to me for some reason. I don't know why. Just Jared being Jared, I guess. And, well, because I didn't even have the save file, I couldn't even try to do any just single player, goof around doing inventory management videos and chattering away. I literally had no access to the game files whatsoever. Maybe I could have done some sort of strange thing, or there's not even really any mods for Divinity Original Sin. There's the workshop, but there's not a lot out there, so it's just Divinity was put on ice for a while. And let's wrap up with, let's just roll the Sunday Sampler and podcast into one thing. Because really, I'm kind of happy with things, how things are. The Sunday Sampler, I think, is the lesser of those two, just because I'll skip a Sunday Sampler occasionally. Usually whenever I have a recording issue, that's the big thing. Or I just really having one of those weeks where I'm not feeling anything that I'm playing. And the Sunday Sampler is one of those series that it's very random to begin with, so I don't feel as terrible of skipping that as I do skipping a week of episode of Halo or an episode of RimWorld. But at the same time, I like to have that consistency, so I'll try to be more consistent with it. But there's times that I'll just have a severe recording issue and I just literally can't put out a video because of it. Now, I've had times where I recorded Saturday night, which, part of my problem is I shouldn't be recording Saturday night. I should be recording Friday, which I have this week. But I'll record Saturday night. Oh, why is that so hard to say? And I'll just leave that in there, just because, why the hell not? And opening up the video in my editing software, I'll have the video, for some reason, the way it interacted with my recording software, it ended up splitting, a half an hour of content into 20 videos, or into 10 videos. And it's not even, just a quick splice. It's the entire loading screen drop because of just how the game is coded. And that's not the fault of the game. That's not the fault of the recording software. It's just a weird interaction between the two. And there's been times that I went back and re-recorded that, but at the same time, there's been times where I just hadn't felt strongly enough to try to go back and re-record, so I just skipped through a week. Granted, I still talked about the game I played on the podcast, but that's not the Sunday Sampler. And this could be solved by just having filler content, I know, and that's something that I should do. I need to figure out what I want to do for filler content, actually. Because one idea is just to have, early access games that I could just fall back on. But at the same time, the Sunday Sampler is also something that isn't just, or at least isn't supposed to be, just the First Impressions series. So I could just do something else. I could just have, evergreen content of me just, goofing around, maybe in Warframe, maybe something else, I don't know. And just being chattering away, and whenever, I have a recording issue, fine. Just use one of the back episodes of the Sunday Sampler, and just have it be a quick click with something else. That's one idea, or just talk about games that I've already been playing, and not have it be a first impression, but, just a long-term impression, not quite a review, but just, my general thoughts about a game, or just pick a subject out of the podcast general topics list and just chatter away. I mean, it's not like I have been chattering away for over 20 minutes now. Boy, this video is going a lot longer than I expected it to. I hope I have enough footage. But it's one of those things that, the Sunday Sampler wasn't supposed to be just a quick look series. As a matter of fact, I ended the quick look series and started the Sunday Sampler to give me more flexibility, and then the Sunday Sampler became a quick look series. It's just one of those things. But outside of just, general recording issues and things that I could do behind the scenes to make it more consistent, I have no real problems with the Sunday Sampler. But, it is very random, not just on content, but, my overall views on it, but that's just the nature of the thing. And the podcast I'm happy with. We don't really miss weeks, mostly because we have canned shows that we can put out whenever something's going on. And overall, I'm pretty happy with it. Probably my biggest complaint about the podcast is that I can't do annotations on it anymore, which is incredibly frustrating, but that's inside baseball stuff. YouTube is a bunch of fucking idiots. Oh, but I think I've chattered long enough. Anyway, general feedback on, well, the channel, me, or really anything. Well, anything the channel related, at least. Because, yeah, just, your opinion on Hush Puppies, the food, not the shoe, is not quite, useful here. Unless you're really outspoken about them in one way or the other. But yeah, I think that wraps us up. So, Divinity should be returning next week. And whatever replaces Halo, I'll try to figure that out while I'm rendering this. Because I have a feeling I'm going to have a little bit of a render time on this. Oh, and one other thing is, 720p versus 1080p. That's something that I've been kind of going back and forth on because of just really the size of footage. And yeah, some games just 1080p just isn't that important. I mean, playing Halo Combat Evolved in 1080p versus 720p, it's just not one of those things that really matters all that much. Granted, I have bumped up RimWorld. I don't think I'm going to do it on Divinity, most likely. But it's one of those things that I need to try to figure out. It's, when is 1080p important? Maybe that will be a good feedback question. Assuming anyone listens to over 20 minutes of this. Or anybody watches this at all, because that's the other thing. But yeah, I think we're done here. So thank you for listening to me ramble. I'm going to try to do these a little bit more frequently. I'm going to try to shoot for maybe 2 a year. So I guess I'll be back towards the end of the year with another just random rambling video. Well, assuming that I don't need to do one a lot sooner. And I sure hope I don't. I'll see you, well, whenever.